मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद। औज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। शुरू करते हैं अल्लाह के पाक व बरकत नाम के साथ। मजलिस का आगाज़ में तलावत कुरान पाक के लिए मैं गुजारिश करना चाहूँगा आशिम जाफरी को कि वो आएँ और तलावत कुरान पाक से मजलिस का आगाज़ करें। पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
सलावत। अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन, अर्रहमानिर रहीम, मालिकि यौमिद्दीन, इय्याका नअबुदु व इय्याका नस्तईन, इहदिनस सिरातल मुस्तकीम, सिरातल लज़ीना अनअमता अलैहिम गैरिल मग़ज़ूबि अलैहिम वलज़ालिमीन।
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद। जज़ाकल्लाह माशाल्लाह। आशिम जाफरी की सेहत व सलामती और तौफीकात में इजाफे के लिए बुलंदतर सलावत। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद। इसी के साथ मैं गुजारिश करना चाहूँगा दुआ कुमैल के लिए कि आफीफ हसन रिजवी आएँ और दुआ कुमैल की तलावत फरमाएँ। बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
दुआ कुमैल। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अल्लाहुम्म सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद। अल्लाहुम्म इन्नी अस्अलुका बिरहमतिका अल्लती वसिअत कुल्ल शै' व बिक़ुव्वतिका अल्लती क़हरत बिहा कुल्ल शै' व ख़दअ लहा कुल्लु शै' वज़ल्ल लहा कुल्लु शै' वबिजबरूतिका अल्लती ग़लबत बिहा कुल्ल शै' वबिइज़्ज़तिका अल्लती ला यक़ूमु लहा शै' वबिअज़मतिका अल्लती मलअत कुल्ल शै' वबिअज़मतिक अल्लती मलअत अरकान कुल्ल शै' वबिसुल्तानिक अल्लज़ी अला कुल्ल शै' वबिवजहिक अलबाक़ी बअद फ़नाइ कुल्ल शै' वबिअस्माइक अल्लती मलअत अरकान कुल्ल शै' वबिइल्मिक अल्लज़ी अहात बिकुल्ल शै' वबिनूर वजहिक अल्लज़ी अज़ाअ लहू कुल्लु शै' या नूर या कुद्दूस या अव्वलल अव्वलीन व या आखिरल आखिरीन। अल्लाहुम्मा अग़फ़िर लिय अज़्ज़ुनूब अल्लती तहतिकुल इज़ाम। अल्लाहुम्मा अग़फ़िर लिय अज़्ज़ुनूब अल्लती तुनज़िलुन निक़ाम। अल्लाहुम्मा अग़फ़िर लिय अज़्ज़ुनूब अल्लती तुग़य्यिरुन निअम। अल्लाहुम्मा अग़फ़िर लिय अज़्ज़ुनूब अल्लती तहबिसुद दुआ। अल्लाहुम्मा अग़फ़िर लिय अज़्ज़ुनूब अल्लती तुनज़िलुल बला। अल्लाहुम्मा अग़फ़िर ली कुल्ल ज़न्बिन अज़नबतुहु व कुल्ल ख़तीअतिन अख़्तअतुहा। अल्लाहुम्मा इन्नी अतक़र्रबु इलैका बिज़िक्रिक व अस्तशफ़िअ बिक इला नफ़्सिक व अस्अलुका बिजूदिक अन तुदनियनी मिन क़ुर्बिक व अन तुज़िअनी शुक्रक व अन तुल्हिमनी ज़िक्रक। अल्लाहुम्मा इन्नी अस्अलुका सुआल ख़ादिअन मुतज़ल्लिलिन ख़ाशिअ अन तुसामिहनी व तरहमनी व तजअलनी बिक़िस्मिक रादियन क़ानिअ وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته وكم من عثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها ومطالي. يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا. لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي. يا من بدأ ذكري يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات، أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت، أو تبعد من أدنيت، أو تشرد من آويته، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة، وبشكرك مادحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب، وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه، قليل مكثه، يسير بقاؤه، قصير مدته، فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه، ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك. وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي، فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أضج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك، فكيف أصبر على فراقك؟ وهبني صبرت على حر نارك، فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك؟ أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك؟ فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا، لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج العاملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته، وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تسجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين. وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما: أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك سترته وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته أو إحسان فضلته أو بر نشرته أو رزق بسطته أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي، يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. قو على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أصلح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في البارزين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرده، ومن كادني فكده، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة، فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي، يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء، يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء، يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقم، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهله، وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
جزاک اللہ ماشاء اللہ. عفیف کی صحت و سلامتی اور توفیقات میں اضافے کے لیے بلند تر صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلی محمد. سلام کے لیے میں باس تقریر گزارش کروں گا کہ وہ آئیں. اس سے پہلے ایک شعر کا سہارا کہ وہ کہتی نہ سوؤں گی اگر نیند بھی آئے، وہ کہتی نہ سوؤں گی اگر نیند بھی آئے، ہے کون جو چھاتی پہ سکینہ کو سلائے، حال اپنا کسی یہ مظلوم سنائے، بابا نہیں زانوں پہ مجھے کون بٹھائے، سینہ میرا اب درد یتیمی سے تپا ہے، بچھڑی ہوں پدر سے مجھے آرام کہاں ہے. میں گزارش کرنا چاہوں گا عباس سے کہ وہ آئیں اور سلام خادیہ پیش کریں. بر محمد وعلی محمد صلوات. اللہ
صلوات. صاحب ذوالفقار مدد آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائے حسین، آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. چلتنا کے سے گرایا گھٹنیوں گھٹنیوں کے بل میں تیری لاش تک آئی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر. بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر. پھر کسی مشکل میں گر کر میں نہ گھبرائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خوبرو. کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خوبرو. بھولنے بیٹھی تو کس کس کی نہ یاد آئی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. دور افتادہ سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نوید. دور افتادہ سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نوید. ٹھنڈا پانی ٹھنڈا پانی جب پیا بس تیری یاد آئی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے وقت. بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے وقت. پھر کوئی آنسو نہ ٹپکا آنکھ پتھرائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائی حسین. آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین. محمد علی محمد بلند الصلوات.
جزاک اللہ ماشاء اللہ. عباس نقوی کی صحت و سلامتی و توفیقات میں اضافے کے لیے بلند تر صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. مرثیہ خانے کے لیے میں رضا بھائی سے گزارش کروں گا کہ وہ تشریف لائیں. اس سے پہلے ایک شعر کا سہارا کہ جب شاہ کو مہلت نہ ملی طواف حرم کی، جب شاہ کو مہلت نہ ملی طواف حرم کی، اس کعبہ ایماں پہ گھٹا چھا گئی غم کی، اور فرمایا کہ لو راہ بس اب ملک عدم کی، بتا سے چلی فوج شہنشاہ امم کی، اور جو قبلہ نما قصد جدھر کرتے ہیں شبیر، پھر پھر کے سوئے کعبہ نظر کرتے ہیں شبیر۔ میں گزارش کرنا چاہوں گا رضا بھائی سے کہ وہ آئیں اور مرثیہ خوانی پیش کریں بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔ اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔
واردی کا صلوات۔
اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔
خطا پیش قدم مولانا صاحب۔ انہی کے ذکر سے اپنے چراغ روشن ہیں، انہی کے ذکر سے اپنے چراغ روشن ہیں، اور دل و جگر پہ محبت کے داغ روشن ہیں۔ محمد است و علی فاطمہ حسن اور حسین، ہماری راہ میں اتنے چراغ روشن ہیں، ہماری راہ میں اتنے چراغ روشن ہیں، انہی کے ذکر سے۔ نعرہ صلوات۔
محمد و آل محمد بلند کر صلوات۔
اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔ حضرت طابی جہلوی صاحب کے کلام سے مولانا صاحب چند اشعار سلام کے آپ خدمت میں۔ آہ کی منزل کربلا ہے، حق کا جادو کربلا، حق کی منزل کربلا ہے، حق کا جادو کربلا، یوں تو ہے ایک نطفہ، یوں تو ہے خطہ زہرا نادہ کربلا، حق کی منزل کربلا ہے، ایک تسلسل حق باطل کا شبیر و یزید، ہے حنین و بدر و خیبر کا دا کربلا، حق کی منزل کربلا ہے، سوچئے تو ایک مشہد، دیکھیے تو ایک دار، کتنی رنگی کربلا ہے، کتنی سادہ کربلا، حق کی منزل کربلا، سارے جذب منسلک بس ایک ہی ہے وحدت میں ہے، اور اپنی منزل راستہ مقصد ارادہ کربلا آپ کی منزل کربلا ہے. گام گام ابن علی ہے جادہ جادہ کربلا مار کے اس کے حق و باطل کے سارے مار کے حق کی منزل کربلا ہے. کتنی لامحدود ہے کتنی کشادہ کربلا سر کے بل جائیں مدینہ پا پیدا جائیں کربلا حق کی منزل کربلا. نعرہ صلوات. سورہ فاتحہ. جب لٹ کے کربلا سے اسیر ستم چلے جب لٹ کے کربلا سے اسیر ستم چلے سجاد سر برنا بدرد و علم چلے روتے تروں کو پیٹتے پابند غم چلے زینب نے لاش سے کہا بھائی ہم چلے زینب نے لاش سے کہا بھائی ہم چلے مرنے سے آپ کے ہیں یہ ایذا اٹھاتی ہوں دربار میں یزید کے سر ننگے جاتی ہوں دربار میں یزید کے سر ننگے جاتی ہوں ہے میرے مسافر کرب و بلا حسین ہے میرے غریب میرے ملقا حسین ہے تجھے نہ پانی کا قطرہ ملا حسین ہے تمام تن تیرا ٹکڑے ہوا حسین پیاسے سے گلے پہ خنجرے بیداد چل گیا ہے تڑپ کے تیرے در ہے تڑپ تڑپ کے تیرا دم نکل گیا ہے تڑپ تڑپ کے تیرا دم نکل گیا لینے نوا علی کے بزا تجھے ملی اے کربلا خدا کی امانت تجھے ملی اے خاک میری ماں کی ریاضت تجھے ملی لے زمین شمع امامت تجھے ملی دامن تیرا بھرا میری کھیتی اجڑ گئی سرحد میں تیری بھائی سے زینب بچھڑ گئی سرحد میں تیری بھائی سے زینب بچھڑ گئی یہ کہہ کے سر کو پیٹ کے روئی وہ دل جلی آ کر نجف سے حال میرا دیکھو یا علی گردن رسان میں آپ کی بیٹی کی ہے بندی کہتے ہیں یہ کہ ماریا سے وہ بات چشمے تر چلی ہے میں کربلائے مولا میں لوٹ گئی پردیس میں آ کے برادر سے چھوٹ گئی پردیس میں آ کے برادر سے چھوٹ گئی مہماں بولا کہ ہم سے دغا کی لائی انہوں نے، کیا کیا نہ ہم پہ جور و جفا کی لائی انہوں نے، کچھ بھی نہ شرم و حیا کی لائی انہوں نے، گردن جفا سے شے کی جدا کی لائی انہوں نے، خیمے جلا کے اہل ستم شاد ہو گئے، ہم کربلا میں آن کے برباد ہو گئے، ہم کربلا میں آن کے برباد ہو گئے، جب لٹ کے کربلا سے اللہم صلی اللہ علیہ
محمد صلوات اللہ صلی علی محمد وآلہ محمد۔ جزاک اللہ، ماشاءاللہ۔ رضا بھائی ان کے ہم نوا کی صحت و سلامتی و توفیقات میں اضافے کے لیے بلند تر صلوات، اللہم صلی علی محمد وآلہ محمد۔ کل کی جو مجلس ہے اس کا آغاز 8 بجے ہو جائے گا، کیونکہ نظر ول بی سروڈ ایٹ 9:20 اور اس کے بعد پھر نماز مغربین، تو تمام مومن مومنات سے وقت کی پابندی کی گزارش ہے۔ اور اس کے علاوہ ایک سورہ فاتحہ کی گزارش ہے۔ آج کا جو تبرک اسپانسر کیا ہے برادر مشید اینڈ ان کی فیملی، اور ان کے جو بھی مرحومین ہیں ان کے لیے ایک سورہ فاتحہ کی درخواست ہے۔ بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات، اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔ ایک شعر کا سہارا لوں گا اور اس کے بعد میں گزارش کروں گا قبلہ مولانا حسین رضا زیدی صاحب سے کہ وہ آئیں اور مجلس سے خطاب کریں کہ پوچھو یزید سے کہ تیرا راج کہاں ہے، پوچھو یزید سے کہ تیرا راج کہاں ہے، وہ خون سے آلودہ تیرا تاج کہاں ہے، اور زندہ ہے حسین ابن علی زندہ رہے گا، لعنت کے سوا ذکر تیرا آج کہاں ہے، لعنت کے سوا ذکر تیرا آج کہاں ہے۔ میں گزارش کرنا چاہوں گا قبلہ مولانا حسین رضا زیدی صاحب سے کہ وہ آئیں اور مجلس سے خطاب فرمائیں۔ بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات، اللہم صلی علی
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Before we begin, I'd like to request you all to recite Fatiha for the elevation of this majlis, acceptance of this majlis, acceptance of your du'as, your prayers, the reappearance of, early reappearance of Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد. ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين باري خلائق أجمعين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا وشفيع المذنبين جد الحسنين وأبي الزهراء وأبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المظلومين المعصومين المنتخبين المنتجبين الغر الميامين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. لسيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء ولعنة الدائمة على أعدائه مجمعين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى في كتابه المجيد إن الدين عند الله الإسلام. وبعد اللهم انتقني بالهدى والهمني بالتقوى. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد. As you already know, that the topic for these 5 days of Majlis is the verse, Inna Dina Indallahi al-Islam. The only religion that exists in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Islam. Today, I'd like to discuss a few things about the Shia school of thought. As you already know, that we are known as Ja'faris. As many of you have seen in Pakistan or in India, whenever there's a timetable for the Ramadan, it says Fiqh Ja'fari and then it says Fiqh Hanafi. Now, why are we called Ja'faris? Our school of thought, basically, the Bani, the leader of our madhab, the leader of our sect, is Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Now, why are we known as Ja'faris? We believe in all of the 12 Imams. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is the first Imam. Why are we not known as Alawis or Muhammadis or Mahdavis? We are Mahdavis, we are Alawis, we are Muhammadis. And we are Musavis, like the rest of the Imam Ma'asumin alayhi salam's names. We relate ourselves to all of the Imam Ma'asumin alayhi salam, but we are known to be Ja'faris. The reason is that all of the 12 Imams until now, our 12th Imam, Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam, did not have the opportunity, the same opportunity that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam had. And unfortunately, the opportunity that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam had also was only, unfortunately, for just 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Before Imam Sadiq and after Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Imam Ma'asumin alayhi salam, all of the Imams, the 11 Imams, were not allowed to propagate Islam. They were not allowed to propagate the things associated with the Shia sect, like for example the fiqh masail, all of those things. The Hawza Ilmiya that exists today in Najaf and in Qom mainly, maybe even in Syria, they officially started in the times of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Now, you see, if you go into the historical background first, Banu Umayyah, these were the people who were ruling all of the Muslim Ummah. But after Karbala, their roots were damaged by small rebellions and revolts that would take place in all of the Arabian Peninsula, in Iraq and all of the different places wherever these Banu Umayyah used to rule. Therefore, at the time of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, towards the end of the times of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, who was also known as Baqir al-Ulum, he set up a school, a madrasa, where he would teach all of the people. And in the time of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, when he took over as the Imam, that school, that madrasa, turned into an international university. It wasn't just a place where people would come and learn about the fiqh masail, about Quran, about deen, about Islam. But it was a university where people would come from all over the globe that had nothing to do with Islam. They were not Muslims. As far as China, from Europe and all over the world, they would just come to learn about different things, like about sciences, theology, philosophy, astronomy, geography, so many of these modern day subjects, physics, chemistry, bio, algebra. And they would participate in the lectures of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, it is known that he had 4,000 students in that university. So you can imagine it was a huge university. From all over the globe, people would just come and learn. And many of them were not Muslims. And now, first let me just finish the historical background. You have to understand that this is the time when Imam Sadiq alayhi was faced with people who would come to him and say, Yabna Rasulullah, Bani Abbas are very weak, and they are coming forward and they're saying that since we are Bani Hashim, we are the ones who would take over from Banu Umayyah, and we will pass on this government to the rightful leaders, which are the Ahlul Bayt, and at this time it is Imam Sadiq. So we are here to pass on this government to Imam Sadiq. So people come forward and say, Yabna Rasulullah, why don't you just step forward yourself and say, I'm here myself. You're using my name, you're using the name of Ahlul Bayt, so I'm the Ahlul Bayt. And it was very easy for Imam Sadiq alayhi salam to take over the throne from Bani Umayyah. But he refused. He said, I will not do that. Why? Because he had an aim to set up a university that would shape this modern world until the day of, and it will keep on shaping this world until the day of the judgment. Right? He had an aim before him. He knew that by refusing this throne and all of these things, it was very easy for him to take the throne. He's signing his own martyrdom by his own hands. But he was willing to lay down his life like the rest of the Imam Ma'asumin for the betterment of humanity, for this world. He was willing to sacrifice his life, and he did. Because he knew that after 5 years, when I've taught these people the things that the world needs to know, these Banu Abbas, these Khalifas are going to be in power, they're going to become strong, and they will know that the teachings of Ahlul Bayt are a hurdle for their government, and he would want to remove these hurdles, and in order to do that, he will poison me. He knew that. But he still went forward and he sacrificed his life for us. Salawat Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Some of you might have heard about the things, the main, there are two aspects of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam's life that I want to discuss today. There are many, but the main two things that I want to discuss about Imam Sadiq alayhi salam's life is his contribution to the science that shaped today's modern world, and the other aspect of his life, Jesus Christ, Allah, salawat, is towards Islam, religion, right? Now we begin with his contributions to science, and you might be surprised to know that few of his students, like for example Khwarazmi, he is known as the father of chemistry. If you Google the father of chemistry, you would find out that Khwarazmi was the father of chemistry, and chemistry is known as alchemy, and it comes from Arabic, alchemy. This subject of chemistry did not exist before, so you can imagine. The first thing that I'm telling you might shock you, that his student, Khwarazmi, was the father of chemistry. And now number two, Jabir bin Hayyan. He was the father of algebra and also algorithm. For those of you, the kids who are sitting right in front of me who do not know what algorithm is, today when you discuss about artificial intelligence, AI, this world full of gadgets and computers and all of these things. What is algorithm? Algorithm is based on mathematical calculations, based on logic. It gives you step-by-step instructions to reach a goal, right? AI is trained based on algorithm. The computer programmings are based on algorithm. Algorithm comes from the word, and it derives from Jabir bin Hayyan, algorithm. He is the father of algorithm. He is the father of algebra. Salawat Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And his book on algebra that he's written is still there in one of the museums of London. And you can go and you can see it with your own eyes. He's written it with his own hands, and he says in the beginning of the book, he says, whatever I have learned is from my master, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Now, I want to discuss about certain things, the certain contributions that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, like for example, the contributions he made in medical sciences. The students that will follow on later on, the students who were the students of the students that he taught, and later on, like Avicenna, known as Avicenna in Europe, in the Western world, his actual name was Abu Sina. Now Abu Sina was a teacher in medical science and philosophy and astronomy, cosmology, and all of those subjects that he used to teach. His book of medical science was taught in Europe untouched for 600 years. Today, the students that learn, that study in the schools, after like maybe about a couple of years, the syllabus changes, right? You have new advancements in sciences and technology, and therefore you have a new book in biology and chemistry and all of these things. But for 600 years, the book was unchanged because it was so advanced that people could not go forward. And now let me tell you something. The students that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam had, what did he do? If he saw that a man had an interest in mathematics, he would give him the guidance and line. Go and do this. Do this. And wherever he would get stuck, he would come and refer to Imam Sadiq, and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam would tell him, where the solution to that problem. If he was interested, if someone else was interested in sciences, he would guide him towards the sciences. And that's what he would do day and night. Salawat wa Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And for example, when I talked about medical sciences, Jabir bin Hayyan, he also was one of the students of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, like I've just discussed before. And one of the daughters of the Khalifas got sick, and she was about to die. She was weak and frail, and she was about to die. And he asked Jabir bin Hayyan to come and have a look at his daughter. She was a princess, right? So he comes and he sees her, and it says in Arabic, he said, give her calcium with a sin, and she'll be all right. And he provides, Jabir bin Hayyan provides that girl with calcium, and she, in a few days, she recovered, she started eating, her diet came back, she started eating again, and she was fine. And later on, he was married to that girl. Salawat ba Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There are many other things, so many things that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam taught this world. For example, people used to believe that this is a flat world, it's not round. It was only in the 16th century that in Europe, the people started believing that it is the world, the globe, the globe that we live in is round. And people used to believe that this globe is the center of the universe and the sun rotates around this globe. And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, while he was a child, he disclosed to the people that no, it is this globe that rotates around this world, not otherwise, not vice versa. And there's so many other things that, like for example, people didn't know about the composition of oxygen. They didn't know about distillation, crystallization, so many of the scientific rules and laws of science that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam taught this world. And had it not taught these things to this world, you can imagine where the world would be right now. If you just take away algorithm, chemistry, algebra, father of these subjects were his students, right? If you take away these things, and also the advancements that he made in medical science, in astronomy, in cosmology, and even so many other things, like even navigation. You've got GPS today, right? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam taught people how to navigate, where they would go in the ships into far-fetched areas, and they would, navigate through stars, and he gave them a system that's the way that you must learn. And he taught people, he made people, his students, to become archaeologists. Now in these modern worlds, you find people from the Western world come to our countries and become, and they say, we're archaeologists and we'll tell you what your past was, and they discover these things, they dig things and they dig out cities and all of those things. And those days, how did it begin? It began from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He told them to travel all the way to Europe. They came to Europe. You might be surprised. The Greek civilization, all of these philosophers like Aristotle and Plato and all of these people, Europeans were unaware. These people Europe basically, United Kingdom, that is today. At that time, the golden era of Islam. These people used to live on treetops and in caves. And here you have archaeologists coming from all the way from Medina, traveled to Europe, and they dug up places and they took out these tablets that were written by these Greek philosophers, and these were the people who told them that that's your culture, that's who you are. You guys are amazing people. You had people like Aristotle and Plato and all of these philosophers who used to teach philosophy hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And then what did they do? They didn't know the language. The people didn't know, okay, what are these tablets? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam's students translated these tablets and taught them everything that was written in those tablets. How amazing is that? And it was the 8th century, right, when Imam Sadiq alayhi salam was teaching all of these students, and the knowledge was spreading all over the world. And in the Western Peninsula, in Europe, the king at that time was Charlemagne, and that's also the 8th century. And it is a time of the Renaissance in the Western world, the golden era, the golden age of Europe. What did he do? He started different academic institutions, colleges. He opened up colleges, universities, and all of these things all over Europe. He said, we guys are backward, so we need to learn, we need to have knowledge, and the knowledge is a thing that we must have. He was a sharp man. And what did he do? He asked for lots of teachers to come and teach in his universities that he set up. And he would pay them a lot of money and everything. So people who would learn from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam directly or indirectly, like from his students, would come and teach in these universities. And later, in the 14th century, when there was the great Renaissance, and that's the time when Europe and the Western world said, now is the time that the modern world is advancing towards science and technology. These are the people that shaped the world. His students, and then the students who followed afterwards. What happened in the 14th century? All of these students from Medina and all of this Arabian peninsula, they were asked to come over. Like, for example, I talked about Avicenna, who taught medical science in these universities. Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So these are the things that you kids and all of us as Shias should treasure and should be proud of. We are the followers of Imam Sadiq. We're called Ja'faris, right? And we are not the followers of the people, and I'm not going to say the name, who would say that, don't think too much about religion. Don't think too much about these things. You should have a religion like the Bedouins. Go outside in the desert and follow nothing but just say Allah, Allah and these kind of things. If you think too much about the religion, you'll go astray. No, the Quran says otherwise. And now Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is here teaching the world, and that's the school that was just set up for 5 years, and later he was poisoned. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he was not allowed to carry on with his school, his academic institution, this international university that he had begun. And later on, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam was not allowed to continue with the legacy of his father, and the Imam Ma'asumin alayhi salam then followed later on as well. So that's a tragedy. But you can imagine, had the Imam Ma'asumin alayhi salam given the opportunity to teach humanity the things that it needed to know. Now, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam was not all of the Imam Ma'asumin alayhi salam. We're not just concerned and bothered about just the Shias but also about humanity in general, irrelevant of which religion you belong from. Like the Imam alayhi are for all. Like the sun shines upon everyone, the rain falls on everyone, believers and non-believers. The resources of this earth, this planet earth, is for all to use, not just for the mu'mineen, right? So Imam Masumin alayhi salam are like that. They want to give to everyone the knowledge. They don't want you to live in caves. They want you to live in the houses where you have modern gadgets, where you have central heating and central air conditioning and all this. They don't want you to ride donkeys and camels and horses. They want you to ride modern cars like Lamborghinis and all of these things. Why? Because you're humans and you deserve that respect that Imam Masumin alayhi salam wants you to have. That's one aspect of it. And now let's talk about his contributions towards religion. He set up a madrasa where people would come and learn. The modern day, the system of marajiyah that you see, maraji'een that you see today, the hawza ilmiyah that you see today, they have a system. The subjects that are taught, how did it begin? Now officially, the madrasa began in the times of Imam Sadiq, even though religion was taught before him as well. But officially, as a madrasa, as a hawza, it began in the times of Imam Baqir, where he was also known as Baqir al-Ulum, but that was just for a short period. But Imam Sadiq alayhi salam continued with his father's legacy. And if that was the time when people, you knew Banu Umayyah had a factory where lots of hundreds and hundreds of wrong ahadith were invented. People were given money to invent ahadith. So the right ahadith, the authentic ahadith, were mixed up with thousands and thousands and thousands of ahadith that were all just a bunch of cooked up lies. So now once you're there and you want to differentiate between the authentic ones and the ones that are just a bunch of lies, what is the system? How would you do that? So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam taught usul al-fiqh for the first time. It was taught, and the book was written in his times. That was usul al-fiqh. He taught us how to do it. He taught us ilm rijal. Began from that time. You have to look at the chain of narration. I heard from this guy heard from that guy. That guy wasn't even born at that time, and I still say that he's the narrator. Or he was a liar amongst all people. How was he known? I mean, was he of a good character or not? Things like that. So many things that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam taught. The right way, the correct way to do the tafsir. And if you know it, if somebody does tafsir al-Rai, if he does tafsir of Quran from himself, it is haram and it's kufr, right? Because Allah intends to say something else and you're saying something else, right? So the only way to do tafsir is from one verse of Quran, which does the tafsir of the other verses of Quran, or for example from the ahadith of Imam Masumin alayhi salam, things like that. He taught all of these things. So the modern day marjaiyat that you see is an outcome of the madrasa, the official madrasa that began. So who are these maraji'een? They study in these hawza ilmiyah, and a time comes when they become a marja, and they give the fatawa, they give these the fatwas are given by the maraja. So therefore the people don't know, they say, well, why do we follow the maraji'een? Why do we do the taqleed? We do the taqleed of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Well, you're not supposed to do the taqleed of Imam Zaman, you're supposed to follow Imam Zaman. Imam Zaman does not give fatwas. Imam Masumin don't give fatwas. They command you and you obey, right? Now, people don't even, I don't know why I'm saying this, but maybe I'm short of time. People don't even know the difference between usuli and akhbari. They say, we are akhbaris. Do you know what actually akhbari means? In the times of, before the ghaiba of ghaibat al-sughra, in times of ghaibat al-sughra, and before that, Imam Masumin al-Islam existed, right? People were in touch with Imam Masumin al-Islam. Akhbaris believe that the ahadith that have come to us, on the face of it, we should just take the context, the material from the hadith, the matn of hadith, and that's it, and just follow it, right? And we don't need to do the ijtihad. Okay, fine. But if you were present in the times of Imam Sadiq, or the Imam Masumin before Imam Zaman alayhi salam's Ghaibat Sughra, Kubra, sorry, then you would know that you are able to be in touch with Imam Masumi alayhi salam. You can go there, ask him, Mawla, this is the masala. Is this halal? Is this haram? What is it? And Imam would tell you. All the designated people by Imam, they would tell you, Imam says this. Period. But when a time comes, when it is Ghaibat al-Sughra, all right, you have 4 naibs. So indirectly you're in touch with Imam Masumi. You do not need to do any ijtihad because Imam is there. The naibins are there. You go to them, naibins, and ask them, you write a letter. And the answer comes from Imam. So therefore, you see that when people say, oh, amazing people, lots of big renowned scholars, renowned ulama of Shias were akhbaris. So what? All were akhbar in the times of Imam Masumi. But when the Ghaibat al-Kubra began, what now? Now we don't have Imam Masumi. And Imam Masumi, that is the reason Imam Sadiq set up this school in those times. But what are you going to do when the 12th goes in the Ghaiba? You're not in touch with the Imam. Now what are you going to do? You've got hundreds and thousands of hadiths. You don't know what you're going to do with them. You pick up a hadith, it says do this. Is this wajib or is this mustahab? And in the other hadith, for example, it says it's don't do this. Is this makruh or is this haram? What are you going to do? Even if you're able to understand, yeah, this is an authentic hadith. What about the daraya? What about the text of this hadith? What are you going to do with it? So who are these people who are going to do it? The people that are trained from the time of Imam Sadiq till today. The officially set up school, hawza by Imam Sadiq Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So these maraje, when they give the fatawa, it is based on 4 things. The Sunnat al-Ma'sumin, Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Taqreer Ma'sum, Fail Ma'sum, Qawl Ma'sum. Taqreer Ma'sum is not like the speech in Urdu, yeah? That is something that if an act is done in front of the Imam doesn't stop you, so it's halal. Because the Hujjat al-Khuda, authority from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a Nabi, a Prophet or an Imam would always stop you. That's bad, don't do that, right? And then it's up to you to listen to Imam or not. He won't force it on you, but he'll tell you. So anything that's done in front of him, so that's Sunnah. Sunnah is based on these 3 principles. And then you have the Quran, right? And then you have Aql and Ijma. Aql, everybody knows, right? You don't need to tell anyone lying is bad. And then Ijma. Ijma is different, as I've previously said before. These are the 4 sources. Who uses it? The Marajeh. Can you or I use it in a way that they use it? No, we cannot, right? So we have got lots and lots of millions of hadiths in front of us, bazillions of hadiths, Quran and everything. And when we talk about religion, Islam is for everyone. Islam is for every aspect of your life. It covers each and every aspect of your life, starting from politics to, for example, the day-to-day life that everybody has, like ibadah, muamalat, your economic affairs, your financial affairs, anything to do with humans. Islam covers it. And now, so now you've got hundreds and thousands of fiqh masail. What are you going to do? If you don't do taqleed, you go to Hajj and you say, okay, well, I'm not going to do Hajj. I'm the follower of Imam Zaman, like all of us are. And I'm a muqallid of Imam Zaman, right? One guy said, I'm the muqallid of Hazrat Ali Asghar, alayhi salam. Okay, it's up to him. Now, what are you going to do? You see certain Shias who go on the top and they're doing the tawaf of Kaaba. There's certain who would right there and doing the tawaf, encircling Kaaba, right? So what are you going to do in Hajj? How are you going to do it? Pilgrimage, ziyarat is different. You go to ziyarat, Imam Hussain is there, you just speak to him. Even if you don't know the adab and everything, but still, you know you're going to be tahir and just walk in and you start speaking to your Imam. That's different, but Hajj is different. Hajj is like Salat. And now, anything that occurs, not just Hajj, anything that occurs before you, you don't have the answer to that. You're a follower of Imam Zaman, okay, fine. I ask you a fiqhi masla. Will you be able to give it to me through the Imam of our times? If you do, you would be a liar if you say, I see Imam Zaman alayhi salam every day. or Imam Zaman is in touch with me. You would be a liar, right? Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The other aspect of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam's life is Ahl Sunnah, our brothers. They have 4 Imams. Nu'man bin Thabit, who is known as Abu Hanifa, and the followers of Fiqh Hanafi consider him to be his Imam, their Imam, and they follow his fiqh. Muhammad bin Idris Shafi'i, Malik bin Anas, and Ahmad bin Hanbal. These are the 4 Imams, right? Who are these 4 Imams? The first 2 that I mentioned, like Nu'man bin Thabit and Malik bin Anas. Both of these guys were the students of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. What does Nu'man bin Thabit say? Lawla sinatan lahalaka Nu'man. Had I not studied in the school of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam for 2 years, I would have perished. I would not have existed. I'm nothing without those 2 years. And then you talk about Malik. Imam Malik, you know what he says? He says, no ear has ever heard, no eye has ever seen, and no mind has ever perceived a man to be more pious and superior than my master and my teacher, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. So these are the 2 Imams. And the 2 other Imams, Imam Shafi'i and Ahmad bin Hanbal. Who are these 2 guys? These 2 are the students of those 2. In Urdu we say, Shagird dar Shagird. I had to say this. Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Right? So these guys, and what does, for example, Ahmad bin Hanbal have to say about Ahlul Bayt? It is said, it is narrated from his own son. He said, we were sitting in our house. Certain people came from Iran, they traveled all the way, and they started discussing about the caliphate, Khilafah of Ali ibn Abi Talib and the rest of the Khalifas, and he said, some of them, they split into 2. They were having a debate. One side said, well, it was the right of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And the other side said, no, it was the right of somebody else. And his son, the son of Ahmad bin Hanbal says, my father is quiet. He's put his head down and he's not saying anything. He's just quiet, right? So those people who are here in the house of Ahmad bin Hanbal, they say, Ahmad bin Hanbal, you're such a renowned scholar and you're just quiet and you're not saying anything. So I'm shocked. I mean, you should say something. Just say something. I mean, participate in our debate. What is your opinion? And you know what he says? He says, you really want to know what my opinion is? And then he says, I don't know if you will be able to digest it. They said, no, Ahmad bin Hanbal, say it. What is your opinion? He says, okay, you think it's a big deal for Ali ibn Abi Talib had he got the Khilafah. It is no big deal for Ali ibn Abi Talib if he had gotten the Khilafah. It is a big deal for the Khilafah to have Ali ibn Abi Talib to be a Khalifa. Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That's Ahmad bin Hanbal, the 3rd Imam. And let's now come to the 4th Imam, Shafi'i, Imam Shafi'i. I'll not say anything. He's got a poetry, lots of ash'ar, and I'll just narrate a few. He says, Ali and hubbahu jannah. Ali's love, the result, the outcome of loving Ali is paradise. Ali and hubbahu jannah. Imam al-insa wal jinnah. And he is the Imam, the leader of the ins, the humans and the jinns. Wasiya Mustafa haqqa, Qasimun Nare wal Jannah. Wasiya Mustafa, the rightful successor of Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. And Qasimun Nare wal Jannah, he is the one who divides hell from heaven. The people, now the people are there, these will go to the heaven, these will go to the paradise. And I'll keep on reciting a few others. Now this one is a very dangerous one. Why? He says, كفى في فضل مولانا علي وقوع الشك في أنه الله مات شافعي وليس يدري علي ربه أم ربه الله. Allahu Akbar. This is Imam Shafi, not me. Not any malung in the street. Not any Nusari. This is Imam Shafi. And you know what he's saying? كفى في فضل مولانا علي. He says it's enough if I just discuss about just one virtue of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Kafafi fadl Moulana Ali. What? And what is that thing? That's one thing which is enough. He says, Kafafi fadl Moulana Ali, wuqu' ash-shak fi annahu Allah. This confusion, the existence of this confusion that Ali ibn Abi Talib is God. Allahu Akbar. Who is this Imam Shafi'i? I'm not saying he believed that Ali ibn Abi Talib was a Nusayri, but that's his poetry. كفى في فضل مولانا علي وقوع الشك في أنه لا مات شافعي وليس يدري عليا ربه أم ربه الله. He says Shafi is dead and he did not realize that Ali is his Lord God or Allah is his God. It's Imam Shafi I'm talking about, right? I'm not saying that he was a Nusayri, but these are his ishar. That's his expression of love for Ali ibn Abi Talib, which is wrong. We as Shias say that Ali ibn Abi Talib is not Allah. He's a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the best of the best. Like Ammi Aisha once said, that I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Aliyun khairul bashar, man aba faqad kafar. Ali is the best of all of humans ever that you can see, right? And whoever resists and he is arrogant is a kafir. Now, the final ash'ar of Imam Shafi that I want to relate to you is, Ya ala bayti Rasulullah. He says, O Ali Rasul, O Ali Muhammad. كفاكم عن عزيم يا على بيت رسول الله حبكم فرض في القرآن أنزله. He says your love has become a compulsion upon us to love you, and that's a decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala written down in the Quran. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. That's written down there. كفاكم عن عزيم القدر أنكم من لا يصلي عليكم لا صلاة له. And he says, out of all of the virtues that you Ahlul Bayt have, just one single virtue is enough that supersedes all, which is that if anyone, any Muslim, recites a salah and he does not send the durood, the salawat on you Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, his salah does not exist. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad ya Muhammad. Now there's one hadith which is accepted from both schools of thought, from Ahl Sunnah and Shia. Nobody has ever denied it. Everybody says this is authentic from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Keep this poetry in your mind, and now I'm going to narrate this hadith to you. Rasulullah says, in qubilat, he's talking about namaz, salat. In qubilat qubilat ma siwaha, wa in ruddat ruddat ma siwaha. If namaz is salat, your salat is accepted, all of your deeds are accepted. If your salat is rejected, everything is rejected. Right? Okay? So now let's just see what he says. And this Imam Shafi, what did he say? If salawat is not recited in the salat, salat doesn't exist. It doesn't come into being. Now let's see what Rasulullah said. Rasulullah said, if your salat is not accepted, nothing is accepted. Like for example, if you fast, your rozas are not accepted because your salat wasn't accepted. Your hajj is not accepted if your salat is not accepted. Your zakat is not accepted. Nothing. Anything you do is not accepted if your salat is. So that means all of the good deeds are awaiting the salat to be accepted in order for them to be accepted. And salat itself awaits people to recite the durood of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad in order for it to come into existence, not just accepted. Have you understood what I said? Recite a salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Now, today is the fourth Majlis, and I want to relate to you, discuss about one incident, and that should be enough for the Masaib, the Musibah of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. It is said, and this riwayat that I'm narrating before you is in Biharul Anbar. Lama Majlis has quoted it. In Nafsul Mahmum, Sheikh Abbas Qumi also said it. And Ayatullah Sayyid Muhammad Jawad Tahrani in his book Az Madina Ta Madina. Az Madina Ta Madina. In his book, yeah? 3 books I've given you the sources. Now, it is said that in Medina, Hazrat Salman Farsi, one of the best companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sees a man who's very upset and he's crying and he's sitting on the floor crying, and Hazrat Salman approaches him and asks him, he says, why are you crying? And he says, the reason is, he says, I'm not a Muslim, I'm a Jew, right? And I have a Jewish daughter. She's small, she's just a little kid, she's blind, and she's very sick. I've taken this child to all of the doctors that I know, all of the Hakim, all of the doctors that I know. Everybody refused, and they said, your kid is done for. She's going to die. Just leave it. We cannot cure your kid. So that's the reason I'm very upset. So if there's anything, I see your face, it's an enlightened face, Noor. I can see Noor on your face. Salman minna Ahlul Bayt. He says, I can see that on your face, and can you help me? And I tell you, I'm a very wealthy man. I've come from Sham, from Syria. I've got a lot of wealth, and I'll give you a lot of wealth if you can help me. And he says, I'll take you to a doctor, and he'll cure your daughter. And he says, I've been to so many doctors, they haven't been able to do it. And Salman says, believe me, this doctor is different. You might have gone to lots of doctors, but this doctor is different. Come with me. He says, okay, who is this doctor? He says, the doctor's name is Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salam. So he says, he takes this man to the doorstep of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And they have accompanied this little child, this sick and ill child, blind, knocks on the door. And he says, I want to see Ali ibn Abi Talib. And when Mawla comes in front of these guys, Al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he's told, Ya Ali, I've brought him to your house. And I said that you will surely cure this child. But they're on one condition, and I've set this condition. I've said, if my master cures your daughter, it will be done, but there's only one condition, and it's on one condition, and that is that you will convert to Islam. You will become a Muslim, a Shia Muslim. And he has accepted it. And Amir Mu'mineen alayhi salam replies, okay, if he's accepted it, that's fine, let him in. And both of them enter the house of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And Mawla says, Amir Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, Ya Hussain, come. Imam Hussain alayhi salam comes. He says, bring some water. So the water is brought. And Imam Hussain looks at Imam Hussain and says, this girl is sick. So put your hand inside that water in order for this girl to be healed. And as soon as Imam Hussain alayhi salam places his hand inside the water, he picks up the water and gives it to this man. And he says, take some water out of this bowl and touch the eyelids of this girl. She was blind. As soon as this water touches the eyelids, the eyes of this daughter, she's able to see. She says, I can see now, right? And Amir al-Mu'mineen says, take this water, take this with you, wherever you've come from. And your daughter is sick, just put that water on the body of this little girl, and she'll be healed. Now these guys leave, the father and this little girl, they leave. And after the next day, they come back again, they return, and they say, Ya Ali, my daughter is cured, she's healed 100%. Your son, Hussain ibn Ali, has cured my daughter. And he says, now I have just one final request left. Ya Ali, I want my daughter to be your obedient servant. And I'm leaving this daughter for you. And I want your daughter Zainab al-Kubra, Salamullah alayha, and Kulsum, to teach this girl Islam, to teach this girl the ways of Islam, to teach this girl hijab, to teach this girl salat, all of these things. Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam agrees, leaves the girl, and he goes back to Syria. And he narrates this story to many of the people, and many Jews convert to Islam. And many of them, they come back with this man to Medina, and when they see that his daughter is cured, because they had seen this daughter before, was sick and blind, they convert after seeing this daughter. Now, this daughter is with Hazrat Zainab Salamullah, and she literally falls in love with this household. She loves Sayyidah Zainab Salamullah and Kulthum. She learns about hijab. She learns about everything about to do with Islam. What happens next? When this daughter's father comes to the house, he says, Ya Ali, these people have brought these people from all the way from Syria to see the condition of my daughter. Now they've seen her and they've converted to Islam, and I'm going back now. And Amir al-Mu'mineen says, take your daughter along with you. He says, Ya Ali, has my daughter made a mistake? She says, no, she hasn't made any mistakes. In fact, she's a very well-mannered girl. She's a very nice girl. But it's just that she's not married, and unmarried girls are, attached to their fathers. So I want this girl to be with you. And he says, Ya Ali, allow me to ask this girl if she wants to go herself or not. And she asked that little girl, and she said, do you want to come back to your father? And you want to leave these Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam's house? And she says, no way. I don't want to leave them ever. I want to stay here. I want to die here. This little girl wants to die here. And she goes and she runs to Sayyidah Zainab Salamullah alayha. And Sayyidah Zainab says, I will not tell you now, but it is because of a certain thing that I tell you, that if you like me and you think you consider yourself to be my obedient slave, I want you to go with your father for a reason that is not known to you. And I don't want to tell you right now, but you will surely know later on. And then it is said in the riwayah that she falls on the feet of Kulthum. She falls on the feet of Sayyidah Zainab. She's crying and crying and crying. And then she gets up and she says, Ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussain, you cured me. One day I will surely return to you and I will do your ziyarah. He leaves to Syria. Father is a wealthy man, and Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, La'natullah alayh, comes forward and he asks for the hand of his son Yazid ibn Muawiyah. And this girl grows up and her name is Hind. She's the wife of Yazid ibn Muawiyah, La'natullah alayh. She grows up, she's married. One day, just after Karbala, when this caravan goes to Sham, Allahu Akbar, that very night, this Hind, she sees a dream, and she sees that there is a bodiless head lying in front of her, and she sees that rows after rows of angels descending upon earth, and they're crying and they're saying, Assalamu alayka yabna Rasulullah, Assalamu alayka yabna Rasulullah. And she says that I see three personalities in my dream. One of them stepped forward and he says, Qataluk ya waladi, my son, you have been killed in a way that you were left thirsty, and even before you were martyred, and even before you were massacred, you were not allowed to drink even one single drop of water. And he's crying, and he looks at other personalities, the two others, and he says, my son, this is your brother Hassan ibn Ali, and that's your father Ali ibn Abi Talib crying upon you. She suddenly wakes up and she doesn't understand what's going on. Why did I see this dream? She doesn't understand. And at that moment she listens to a lot of noise outside the palace, and she asks the people, what is this noise? And she is told that certain people had rebelled against the king Yazid, and the whole family was punished. The people who were left alive have been imprisoned, and they've been brought to the court of Yazid. So she says, I want to see them. And she orders a throne to be taken outside. And a throne is taken outside, a big chair that looks like a throne. and she's dressed up, and she sits on the throne. And as she sees the caravan coming close to her, Sayyidah Zainab Salamullah Alaiha notices that this is Hind. And she talks to Sayyidah Kulthum, and she says, Kulthum, you know who this is? He says, no, I do not recognize this girl. And she says, this is Hind, our obedient slave, the one that our brother Hussain cured. And now let's put her head down. And we don't want her to recognize us. We don't want her to see us in this condition. And so they decide to put their heads down. They have no veils on their heads. And they put their heads down. And Hind notices this. And as soon as they come close to him, Hind says, she asks a question, and she says, who are you people, and why have you put your heads down? She says, and she asks a question, Min ayyi baladantum, where have you come from? And Sayyidah Zainab replied, Nahnu min Madinatul Madina, we are from Medina. And as soon as she listens to the word Medina, she gets up from her throne and she sits on the floor. Sayyidah Zainab asks her, why did you do this? He says, this is for the respect of the word that you used, Medina. And you said you're from Medina. I respect you so much. And Sayyidah Zainab asks her, so why do you respect Medina so much? He says, because there's one person that I call my master, and his name is Ali ibn Abi Talib. His house is in Medina. He has a son, Hussain ibn Ali. He is the one who cured me. And his elder son is Hassan ibn Ali. And he has two sisters, Zainab Kubra and Kulthum. And I brought some food because I've done a nazar, a mannat, a nazar. And the nazar was that I would give the imprisoned people this nazar whenever the people would come. Because of this, because of the cure, my Mawla who had cured and healed me. And Sayyidah Zainab says that you talk about these people, would you recognize them once you see them? He says, yes, why would I not recognize Sayyidah Zainab? Why would I not recognize Hussain ibn Ali? And she says, look at my face. I am Zainab, daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And you see this lady standing next to me. This is Kulthum. And you see this head on the spear. This head is of Hussain ibn Ali. And that's Abul Fazl al-Abbas. And that's Ali Akbar. And this man that you see in prison in shackles and chains is Ali ibn al-Hussain. And as soon as she listens to this, she starts crying. And she picks up the stones and she hits that stone on her head. And she falls on the ground and she faints. And as soon as she gets up, Sayyidah Zainab says, you know, I do not want Yazid, your husband, to hurt you. Leave us to our status and just leave. She gets up and she says, Maulati wa Sayyidati, I see no veil on your head. And what she does is she takes off the veil from her head, throws it on the ground. She opens up her collars and she runs to the court of Yazid. And as soon as she enters the court of Yazid, Yazid sees Hind in this condition that she has no veil on her head. He holds his abba in his hands, and he throws that abba on the head of Hind, and she says, what are you doing? You're in front of my Muharam. I do not want to see you in this status. And she says, La'natullah alayk ya Yazid. You have snatched the veils of the daughters of Rasulullah, and you want to see your wife in this condition. La'natullahi ala al-qawm al-zalimeen. Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain.
जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، ہر تماچے پہ سکینہ نے، ہر تماچے پہ سکینہ نے پکارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، مجھے بالوں سے پکڑ کر ہے تماچے مارے، مجھے بالوں سے پکڑ کر ہے تماچے مارے، میں نے سر شیبر سے مانگا جو تمہارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ ہر تماچے پہ سکینہ نے، ہر تماچے پہ سکینہ نے پکارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے وہ جو دریا اپنے تحفے میں مجھے بخشے تھے، وہ جو دریا اپنے تحفے میں مجھے بخشے تھے، ان کو بے دردی سے ظالم نے اتارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، آپ کے سینے پہ آرام سے سونے والی، آپ کے سینے پہ آرام سے سونے والی، سو کے اب خاک پہ کرتی ہے گزارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ساتھ رہواروں کے دوڑایا گیا ہے مجھ کو، ساتھ رہواروں کے دوڑایا گیا ہے مجھ کو، چور زخموں سے بدن میرا ہے سارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ میری غربت چچا جان کا سر روتا ہے، میری غربت کے چچا جان کا سر روتا ہے، ان کی غربت میں کروں کیسے گوارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے مادر نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ نوکے نیزار پہ اسے دیکھوں تو دیکھوں کیسے، نوکے نیزار پہ اسے دیکھوں تو دیکھوں کیسے، میرا اصغر تھا مجھے جہاں سے بھی پیارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے الوداعی مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے یہ صداقت سے معصومہ کی آئی ماں سے، یہ صداقت سے معصومہ کی آئی ماں سے، ساتھ قائم کے چلے آنا دوبارہ بابا، جب مجھے یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین